make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my...
Good evening to you. It's another Tuesday evening, and we are live on Joy 99.7 FM. This is Geek Squad with your girl Adobea Biritwum. Geek Squad is brought to you by MTN. MTN, everywhere you go. Last week we started a conversation on how you can keep your digital life secure or stored, and we would be continuing with that conversation. But then tonight we are going to have to meet again the TBD team. I'm excited because of what this team is doing. They are changing the payment systems in Africa, and we're going to have a conversation with one of the team members. She is ready and has already joined me. We will be sharing with you how we can be solving some of the payment challenges in Africa using open source protocols. But before we do that, we would like to share with you what has been happening in the tech space in the past week. So why not take a listen to the emerging tech trends? We'll be right back after that.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Emerging Tech Trends on Joy Geek Squad. My name is Denisia Poma Ije. In our headlines, Instagram is testing vertical profile grids. Also, Google Meet's latest update includes new UI and in-call messaging. Google Sheets adds a one-click way to easily create tables, and Threads is testing several new features like scheduling and analytics. Let's settle for the details now. Instagram is testing a significant update to profile pages by changing the profile grid from squares to vertical rectangles. Some users have recently noticed this change, which has been explored since at least 2022. Head of Instagram, Moseri, addressed the test in an Instagram story, stating that most uploads are vertical, either 4:3 for photos or 9:16 for videos, and that cropping to a square format is quite limited. Google's Meet app is adding new features for video calls, focusing on personal use. The upcoming update rolling out over the next few months will include a revamped user interface and in-call messaging previously only available for meetings. Google recently launched a new table formatting feature in Sheets, simplifying the creation of sortable cell blocks. The company is quickly rolling out additional updates to enhance the speed of setting up, configuring, and viewing data within tables. Meta is testing several new features on Threads, its competitor to X. These additions include user-friendly options and content management tools aimed at brands. Since its official launch on July 5, 2023, Threads had surpassed 200 million monthly active users, including celebrities and brand accounts. And that's it for Emerging Tech Trends on Joy Geek Squad. Join us same time next week. My name is Denisia Pomaije.
Welcome back. This is Geek Squad with your girl Adobea Biritwum. We are streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook at Joy 99.7 FM. Tonight we are having a conversation about solving some of the problems that is associated with payments in Africa and solving by using open source protocols. And I have with me our guest for tonight. She's in the person of Angie Jones, and she is the Global Vice President of Developer Relations of TBD. Angie, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you again.
Yes. So good to see you again, too. I think you were on the show some few months back, and for those who probably missed it, it would just be a good idea to give us some background context of what TBD is about and what TBD does.
Yes, of course. So TBD focus
Okay, so we are just on,
source
I
and
guess, to give
decentralized
us
technology
their
verification as
feedback.
well
Okay.
as cross-building right now are open source tools. So they're freely available for people to use. They don't have to contact us or ask us for permission to do so. They're just readily available for developers to use. And yeah, we were in Africa, multiple countries there a couple of months ago where I was able to stop by the show.
Yeah.
And in that effort, we were on the ground hosting developer workshops where we were teaching engineers how to utilize the TBDEX protocol and SDKs in order to build payment applications.
It was really a good time. I remember the workshop that was held and how we had participants coming through to learn something about TBDEX and then TBD as a company. I think one of the questions that came through, and it would just be a good idea for us to just let our listeners also know before we get into the whole hackathon and what's being done. But one of the things that came across was what is in it for TBD? Why are they doing all this, going around into the different countries and then speaking to developers, letting them know about the TBDEX?
Yeah, of course. And it's actually a great question. I get that often as well because people are not really used to financial institutions doing things for the greater good. Usually it's some way to like grease their own pockets or
Yeah.
something like that. But TBD is a part of Block, which is a publicly traded company, also was recently renamed from Square. So we have a lot of tools and products such as Square, such as Afterpay, such as Cash App, Title. All of these products have a common thread in wanting to empower people economically, right?
Yeah.
Whether that be small business owners, whether that be consumers. That's in our DNA to provide tools that enable people, to commerce across the globe. And so TBD specifically is focused on the cross border. A lot of our products are used very heavily in the United States, and so this is our aim to make global cross border remittances and payments easier to do. And we believe that should be open. If you're going to make something like that, that kind of disrupts the goats of today, the standard rails of today, then we believe the best way forward is to make this open and decentralized such that there's no entity, there's no centralized bank or financial institution that's in control of this movement, but it unlocks and enables these peer-to-peer transactions that can be just as secure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just good to know. So, in terms of what TB Dex is for, like, what would we say is the significance of TB Dex in improving the African payment system? Because it's one of the things that we are aware of. Like you mentioned, you are very much in the US, but then you saw that there is a need to just move it across. So, what is that significance role is going to play in improving African payment systems?
Yeah, that's a great question. So TBX has the potential to address some of those key challenges that's faced on the continent in terms of financial inclusion, in terms of accessibility to global currencies, and also the trust of those movements. So cross-border transactions in Africa are notoriously slow and expensive. The last time I spoke with you, I shared the story of how I needed to pay someone
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Africa for a service that he was going to do on the ground, and it took weeks for this payment to arrive. I'd flown to Africa, I've gotten the work done, and I've flown back to the U.S. and the payment still hadn't arrived.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is a problem, and TBDX looks to help solve in some of these by simplifying and accelerating cross-border payments by facilitating these direct transactions between parties, regardless of where they are in the world. And if we can reduce the reliance on these intermediary companies that are basically slowing the process up, because that's what's happening. It needs to take multiple hops in order to get from my country to yours. If we can reduce the reliance on all of these stops, then we can see things like lower transaction cuts, because everyone is taking a cut along the way. The fewer of those that's in the middle, the less that you have to pay in fees and costs for these cross-border payments. So ideally, it should become more accessible to African businesses, to individuals on the continent, as well as for those like myself who seek to send money to the continent as well.
Okay, so in talking about finding a way to more or less simplify the payments systems and also to facilitate the connections between the users and financial institutions, how exactly is TBDEX open source protocol going to do this? Like, how exactly is that going to be done?
Yeah, so we utilize decentralized technologies that are open standards. They're W3C standards called decentralized identifiers and also verifiable credentials. So both of these technologies help to identify parties across various payment applications, and also for businesses to be able to codify what are the regulatory requirements that they need to adhere to for compliance reasons, right? And so with these two technologies, we're embracing them and then also adding a messaging layer to this where anyone who, like any payment application that is seeking to maybe expand to other markets, can easily use the protocol to connect with liquidity providers anywhere in the world. So let's say, for example, that I have a US based
Mm-hmm.
payment application,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to service African markets, right? But I have no African liquidity at all with
Mm-hmm.
me. So I'm kind of stuck right now. What TBDEX would enable me to do is seek out liquidity providers that may have the currencies that I'm interested in providing in my application and use them on the back end. So some examples are Yellow Card, which is just about live on the network, and also Chipper Cash is also working on integrating with the protocol. Once these two nodes are live, that's now liquidity in Africa that I, as maybe a US based company, could supply on my back end. And this is all hidden from the end user. They don't need to worry about that. But all of a sudden, they open their payment app and now they see a way to send money to wherever, to Nigeria, to Kenya, to Ghana, to all of these places. So Yellow Card supports like 22 countries in Africa. So you can see how by integrating with this protocol
Mm-hmm.
once, I'm now able to connect with any other liquidity providers that have also integrated with this protocol. And now I'm expanding my business from just the domestic country I live in.
Got you. I think one of the things that you have touched on a number of times is the fact that decentralized technologies is being used for this particular platform. And so my question would be, why is it even it's essential for us to prioritize decentralized technologies here in Africa? Because yeah, we know that most of the things being done right now are centralized, but why should we even start focusing on the decentralized technologies?
Yeah, why should we care, right? The reason is, as you know, Africa has a large unbanked population, right? So there's
Yeah.
millions of people that are lacking access to the traditional banking services, and therefore they're being excluded from the global economy, right? And we don't think that that's just. So TBDEX, as an open source liquidity and trust protocol, can enable these individuals to participate in the financial
Mm,
system by
mm-hmm.
providing like decentralized alternatives to those traditional banking services. where users can engage in peer-to-peer transactions that are secure without the need of that traditional bank, right? And so our hope here is that this increases financial inclusion across the continent and leads to development of new financial products and services that are better suited for the needs of African consumers and businesses. And I just want to clarify that
Mm-hmm.
TBDEX itself is a protocol and a messaging layer, right? So it's basically a tool. It's not an end product. So
Yeah.
what it is it enables developers on the ground and on the continent to take these tools and build the solutions that they know that they need for their communities, right?
Yeah, got you. If you're just joining us, we are having a conversation with Angie Jones from the TBD team, and we are looking at how we can solve some of the payment problems that we have here in Africa. So, now to the exciting part for me is the organization of the TBD hackathon. And so, what are the goals of this, and what should people expect? I mean, if there's a developer listening to us, what is the whole idea? What should they expect?
Yeah, so the TBD hackathon is live right now, and we're really hoping to see developers create innovative payment applications that integrate with the TBDX protocol and enable this financial access on a global scale. So this is a great opportunity to basically open the doors for your communities and expand the reach that they may have right now. So we want to see folks get this hands-on experience with some of the technologies that I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
earlier, like the decentralized identifiers, like the verifiable credentials. We're starting to see that sort of technology adopted across the world in various institutes, and we want to make sure that everyone is being exposed to those early and are building with them and have the opportunity to even influence the development of those technologies, right? So we're seeing them in things like mobile driver's licenses across the world, right? We're seeing different countries use these technologies
Mm-hmm.
to enter the country without a passport, for example. In Europe, we see a lot of this with the open banking, the digital wallets, and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
this technology is really an emerging one
Mm-hmm.
where we're focusing on the financial use cases and seeing what people can do with that. How can you adopt that to come up with some innovative payment solutions?
That is just great. I mean, with hackathons, it just give people ideas like this, as you are mentioning, to come up with innovative solutions that we end up using. And so, what I want to find out right now is the rationale behind organizing the hackathon in collaboration with the Africa Bitcoin Conference. Why that? Yes.
Yeah, so we attended the Africa Bitcoin conference the last couple of years, and we really love what they're doing there. We really resonate with their vision, which is promoting, freedom, and specifically for us, financial freedom and privacy across Africa, right? So while TBDEX is a global protocol,
Mm-hmm.
its relevance is particularly significant in regions like Africa, where, like I said, the financial access and the inclusion, these remain ongoing challenges. So the Africa Bitcoin Conference is committed specifically to promoting Bitcoin adoption across the continent. And TBDEX could play a crucial role in this by providing that infrastructure for the secure financial access, right? And so we're really looking to the conference and the conference goers, the types of people that are there to help us like bridge the gap for unbanked and underbanked populations and empower them to actually participate in the global economy.
Got you. So, I mean, when people hear hackathon, you mentioned that it's already live. If someone would like to participate, a developer, an innovator, what do they have to do? I think it would be good for us to just let them be aware of that.
Yes, of course. I'm glad you asked that. We don't want to forget that important part. So if anyone is interested in participating, you can go to TBDEX. So that's TBDEX.io/hackathon. And on there is all of the information that you need, the instructions, the prizes, all of the resources that would be helpful for you. You can also register your interest there and then submit the project once you're ready to do so.
You mentioned prizes. Can you just give us ideas? What's happening on that? Those who win.
Yes. So there's three phases to the hackathon. The project submission phase ends September 15th. So you have a little time in order to build, and the idea here is to build a payment application that integrates with a sandbox of liquidity providers, right? And so once you do that, you can submit that project by September 15th. And the semi-finalist phase, where we choose some participants to continue on in the process, they would then make a short video explaining their project. And from there is the final round. So everyone who ends up becoming a finalist will win a trip to the Africa Bitcoin Conference in Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay.
And the top three teams who win collectively win $30,000 in Bitcoin. So we're
Mm.
excited about that.
Yes, yes, yes. So let me just ask for the developers who can participate in the hackathon. Is it any kind of developer at all, whether the person is a front end developer, back end, or are there specific types of developers who can partake in this?
Yeah, any developer that is a resident of an African country can participate no matter what your skill set is. And so we have libraries that you can use for desktop as well as for Android or iOS. So we're starting to see some mobile developers take part, front end, back end, and you can form a team of two. So we're starting to see people do that. Let's do a back end and a front end together
Okay.
and tag team it, right? We're also seeing people that are not developers maybe team up with someone else with
That's what I
more
was going to
business
ask.
set.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So that's fair game as well.
Interesting. So even if the person is not a developer, so far as they have the interest and they can team up with someone who is a developer, they can go ahead and do this. That's good to
That's
know.
right.
That's good to know. Interesting. But you mentioned that the price is in bitcoins. That's what you said.
Yeah, so it's 30,000 US dollars, but we'll deliver it in Bitcoin.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
So just to find out, what are some of the challenges within Africa payment system that we are trying to use this hackathon to address? Like opening it up for people to come up with their innovations. What exactly are we trying to do? Because maybe we could have just opened it up like we had the workshop some 2 months ago and opened it up for people to go ahead and create their own products. Why are we trying to use a hackathon instead to try and solve some of these problems?
Yeah, that's right. So the workshop basically taught one use case. Okay, here's how you can integrate with this protocol, and here's how you can like send, maybe do a currency exchange or something like that. But there's all sorts of innovative things that people can do, and every time I talk with various developers or business owners, I hear yet another use case. So we thought it would be really cool to say, okay, we taught you how to use it. We have videos and things like that if you weren't able to attend the workshop, but we do have content that shows you how to use it on a base level. And then how can you take that and maybe do something more innovative with it, right? And so participants could develop, payment applications that again, operate independently of the banking systems, right? And do the peer to peer transactions. These could also include mobile payment platforms
Mm-hmm.
that's maybe tailored to unbanked populations, right? Um, given the high costs and the delays, how are you going to send the money in like the most efficient way? So that's one of the things also about TDEX. Like I said, it's a library, so it's not an end product. It's not going to move the money for you.
Yeah.
That's up to the different companies how you want to do that. But it does open this competitive landscape, because if I'm using traditional rails to move money across borders, I'm going to face the same problems we see today, where this takes days or weeks in order for that to happen. Whereas if someone chooses to use Bitcoin or stablecoin as a rail, this is not exposed to the user, but it's a really quick way to move money across borders. Then that offering would say like, oh yeah, I can do this transfer in 60 seconds. So which one would you choose if you
Yeah.
had 60 seconds or you had 2 weeks to deliver the payment, right? And then I'm also thinking about other like really innovative systems that could, do things like micropayments for content creators like ourselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where maybe you want your audience to be able to pay digitally for your services or for subscriptions or something like that. And this could allow a way for you to take these international payments from different countries.
Interesting. So, I mean, with what we are doing and opening this up, we see that we are opening it up for us to see talent development here in Africa. In the sense that I liked what you said earlier. Even if the person is not a developer, they have that opportunity to even team up with another person and come up with an innovative products, and that is really, really good in terms of what is being done. So for the hacker thing and what's being done, how are we looking at that in terms of fostering innovation in the fintech sector in Africa? How do we see that the role is playing there?
Yeah, so we're really looking towards the creation of new tools, new applications that may not exist today, or maybe they're the improved ones that do exist today, right?
Mm-hmm.
But furthering whatever it is your mission is. So we don't aim to dictate to anyone how they should use the protocol or what types of tools they should use. We really just say, here's the tools free of charge, and hope to see people contribute to the development of solutions that are tailored to the specific needs of their communities, right? And that local adoption, that local innovation, especially with using like these new kind of decentralized technologies.
Yeah, I think this is really something that is good. And for you listening to us, we are having a conversation with Angie Jones, and this is about improving the payment systems here in Africa. And one of the things that is going to be done is a hackathon. This is happening. So, what is the period for this anyway? If somebody wants to participate, let me just even ask that. You mentioned it's already
Yeah.
live. What period do they have to be able to do their in terms of innovation and then be ready for the presentation and all that?
Yeah, okay. So they'll need to submit the actual product that they develop by September 15th. From there, the judges will review those products. They'll select a subset of semifinalists. The semifinalists will be notified, and they'll have a couple of weeks to a month in order to create a really short video, think 3 to 5 minutes, where you're explaining what it is that you built and how it works. And so then you'll submit that. We'll have another period of judging. And at that point, we'll select up to 12 finalists, or like 6 groups of finalists. And those finalists then will receive, if you don't live in Nairobi, but you live in another country in Africa, then you'll be flown to
Okay.
Kenya. So you do need to be able to acquire a passport or
Mm.
visa if needed. But you'll be flown to Kenya. You'll get tickets to the Africa Bitcoin conference. We'll take care of your hotel stay and things like that. And then at the conference, so in addition to networking and meeting other like-minded people at the conference, you also have the opportunity to pitch your idea in front of a live panel of judges, and then from there, the three winning teams will be selected.
This is really exciting. If you are listening in and you are a developer or you probably know someone, and this is it's a very good idea to show what you can do in terms of innovation, and not just that, but in terms of also solving problems, payment problems here in Africa using decentralized technologies. It's something that definitely you should be looking out for and getting ready. The end date is September 15th. But we'd like to just find out from you too, just in case you have a question, you can send in your WhatsApp message on the number 055 Maybe you are listening to us and you have a question based on what is being discussed so far. The whole idea is that TBD is a team and they use decentralized technologies, but then they offer a platform which is the TBDEX where you can have access to open protocol and build some things. And not just that, they are also putting together a hackathon where you would have the option to innovate, come up with any good solution that we would need here in Africa or in Ghana. And once you're able to come up with a product that really would be something that the judges can look at and say this is something that is very innovative, then you stand a chance of winning something when they attend the Africa Bitcoin conference. I'm excited. Seriously, I am. And if you're listening to us, you don't have to let this chance pass by. But let me just ask, you mentioned that they can form a group of two. Is that the maximum that can be in a group, or it can be more than that if someone wants to participate in the hackathon?
Yeah, the maximum is two. And someone already reached out to us in Discord. Oh, I just two.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because we want to give the opportunity for all of the finalists to come to Kenya to pitch the product, right? And so we do have a cap at 12 people to do that.
Okay.
And we want as many teams as possible to be there. So that gives us a maximum of 6 teams and a maximum of 12 people. And so we feel like that's a really nice number to give people a shot at winning. So yeah, two person max. You could do it alone if you got the juice like that, but if you want to partner with somebody, we do encourage you to do that as well.
Okay. Today, when I posted the flyer for the show, I had someone reach out to me, and the person asked me, how is this different from the other payment platforms that we already have, the PayPals and all that? How is it different? So for someone who's
Yeah.
probably just wondering, we are talking about TBD, TBDX, what exactly can we tell that person? How different is it from the other payment platforms?
Yeah, so what we'll tell them is that it's not a product. It's not a user-facing product. So those products that you mentioned, they could utilize TBDEX in the background, right? So this is just a way for multiple applications to connect to one another in order to expand both of their reaches across the world, right? And so it's not a competitor for PayPal or any of those other payment products. Any and all of them actually could stand to utilize this protocol and enhance their offerings and their reach.
Got you. Got you. So that is the difference. This is really a response to you, Mr. Paul Nkrumah. You asked me this question specifically. The whole idea is that whatever payment platform it is, you can rather leverage on the platform that TBD is offering through the TBDEX platform, and then you can have your payment offering that you can give to people. So who knows, you can be the next person to be building the next PayPal. Just be open to,
That's
especially
right.
the hackathon that is coming from this, using the platform that we have available. This is Geek
And let me
Squad.
use an example,
Yeah.
if I may. I can use Yellow Card since they'll be live pretty soon. So Yellow Card is already in business. They're not brand new. They already have an app. They're already moving money. So they don't have to change their business model. This is an addition to that says, oh, if I integrate with this protocol, then I don't, every time I want to connect with a different app, I don't have to learn what their API is and do these kind of one-off integrations with every business. I can just do it one time and then say, hey, if anybody wants some African currencies, I have a lot of them and you can add me to your application. Here's my ID. And that's all another business would need in order to integrate Yellow Card into their application. So like I said, if I'm a US based company or live in, whatever country I'm in, and I don't necessarily have access to those currencies right now, I can just integrate using TV Dex, and now I can connect with the Yellow Cards of the world and expand the currencies that I have available to my customers.
That is definitely something that can be done. You don't necessarily have to change the current thing you're doing. You can add them on also. Thank you for that. This is Geek Squad with your girl, Adobea Biritwum. Geek Squad is brought to you by MTN. MTN, everywhere you go. Now, we all have those days when you are low on everything: energy, time, cash, and even airtime and data. Well, that's why MTN Extra Time is an airtime and data advanced service that allows you to make calls or browse the internet even when you have insufficient balance. All you have to do is to dial star 506 hash, star 506 hash, go through the prompts and select the amount of airtime or data you need. It's more than simple. Doing your favorite things on MTN means you don't get interrupted even when you are low on airtime or data. Please remember, all terms and conditions apply. We are having a conversation on how we can better the payment systems in Africa, and we're having a conversation with Angie Jones. Do stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home. Shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions
and send tweets,
where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
The much-awaited Street Art Carnival of the Year is here again. Chalewati Street Art Festival 2024.
Theme, and now an end to the empire of horrors.
Come experience a display of varied artistic representations of African culture, history, storytelling, dance, and music.
From Monday, August 19th to Sunday, August 25th.
Media partners: Joy Prime,
Joy FM,
Hits FM, My Joy Online,
Adom FM,
Adom TV,
and all multimedia affiliates across the country and beyond.
Chalewati Street Art Festival 2024 is powered by Joy Entertainment.
In this month of July, Aquaba Magic is taking you on an entertainment roller coaster. NO Season 2 is here live. Watch how the drama unfolds as Bearfee struggles to rescue her daughters this and every Monday at 9 p.m. That's not all, though. Watch Nana Koto, Tailor Made, Aketechua, and the Lankai Show Season 2. Tune in to Aquaba Magic DSTV Channel 150 and GoTV Channel 102. Aquaba Magic, Ghana's most loved storyteller.
The political atmosphere is getting charged up as the general election draws closer. But which political party has the best plans for the entertainment industry? The answer to this and and more will be provided at the 5th edition of the Joy FM's Showbiz Roundtable. This year, we are offering a platform for political parties to present your policy ideas on Ghana's tourism, arts, and culture. Dubbed the Manifesto Debate on Creative Economy, the program will air live on Joy FM and Joy Prime TV on September 14, 2024 from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Speaking for the NDC will be the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Okaikwe Central Constituency, Sadiq Abdullahi, and member of the NDC's Manifesto Committee, Rex Owusu-Mafo. From the camp of the NPP will be the Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Mark Okwekomante, and the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, GTA, Akwasi Ajaman. This thought leadership event is hosted by Kwame Datsi, produced by Philip Nye, and powered by Showbiz A to Z, your most authoritative entertainment talk show in Ghana.
Welcome back. This is Geek Squad with your girl Adobea, Biritwum. We are having a conversation on how we can improve the payment systems in Africa, and I'm having the conversation with Angie Jones. She is with TBD team, and she's been sharing with us. The exciting thing is that they are going to, in fact, they have already rolled it out. It's a hackathon to have developers, innovators come up with products that the winning teams will be getting some prizes based on what they bring out. So for Angie, for our listeners, I think it'll just be a good idea for us to talk about some of the things that we are expecting in terms of innovations, just to give people ideas what they can think about in terms of partaking in the hackathon. What would be some innovations? I know you've touched on one or two things already, but what other things can they just think around and look at developing in order to participate in this hackathon?
Yeah, so another cool area might be around the identity verification and the compliance aspects, right? So every country, this is a problem when you start talking about cross-border payments. Every country has their own regulations, their own rules for how you can move money in and out of that country. And so, of course, the businesses have to comply with the laws of their land. And that makes it really tricky when we're talking about moving money from one country to another, because you have to adhere to those things. And so verifiable credentials are technology that TBDX utilizes that allows like these financial institutions to essentially specify whatever they may need from an end customer in order to meet those needs, right? So if they need to do anti-money laundering checks or sanctions checks, or know your customer, things like this, they can provide like a codified way to do so. And so there could be some creative innovation around, like, maybe how do you even reuse these checks across different applications? Because like I said, you can think of TB Dex as a way that maybe you have all of these multiple puzzle pieces. You have payment apps, but then you also have financial institutions that provide liquidity, right? Money. And so any of these apps can mix and match. I can make let's say that I'm making a payment application. I can choose, okay, I want that financial institution, that one, that one, that one. Maybe there's 4 of them that I want to be a part of my network, right? And so I need some sort of way to also make sure that it's a seamless user experience, and that my customers are able to adhere to whatever compliance regulations that are in place. So there's a lot of room for innovation there, because one of the financial institutions that I use, maybe you use that in your payment app too. And so if I've already undergone these checks in one app, when I go to the next app, I don't want to redo that again. Can we find a way to maybe reuse some of these credentials that are being issued by the financial institutions within other payment applications, for example?
I really like the sound of that, especially the identification aspect. If someone is able to come up with a product like that, it makes it very seamless when it comes to our payment platforms. So let me find out from you, in terms of this hackathon being done and being done by TBD, are there other partners involved? I mean, apart from the Africa Bitcoin conference that you mentioned, there is a collaboration there. Are there other partners also involved?
They Yellow Card is going to help us with the judging. So their CEO, Chris Maurice, will be one of the judges at the Africa Bitcoin conference. And so you can expect to see him. Lots of different perspectives with the judges, you know. So we have some software developers, of course, that'll be judging, but we also have people from our business team, from our policy team, from product team, and then, like I said, Chris Maurice, who is a liquidity provider. He's going to be very interested to see like what sorts of payment applications people come up with, because his business is one of the ones that after you finish building this, you can connect with him and, hey, now you have a live product on the market, right? And so yeah, we're if any other businesses are interested in this technology or even participating as a judge, please feel free to reach out to me.
Okay, okay. So in terms of participation in the hackathon, would there be specific tools that will be accessible to the participants?
That's yes, of course. So they can use the TBDEX tool, which, as I mentioned, is open source. So you don't need to pay for anything. You don't need a subscription, a license, and nothing of the sort, right? And so on that tbdex.io/hackathon website, you have links to all of these resources that you can download. We also have the Web 5 SDK. So the Web 5 SDK is the one that includes the decentralized identity and the verifiable credentials. This is also open source, so same rules apply. So between those two tools, you have what you need in order to fulfill the obligations of the hackathon. But of course, if you want to use other tools as well to really increase the innovation there, then by all means, you're welcome to do that.
Okay, okay. So for someone who probably joined us along the line, can we just go over what developers will be tasked to do in this hackathon?
Yes, of course. So the hackathon, here's the premise. You're provided with fictional liquidity providers, right? There's maybe four of them, four liquidity providers on the network, and there's also a fictional issuer of the verifiable credentials. So let's say they do all the compliance stuff for you and take care of that. So your focus is only on building the payment application that can integrate with these other businesses to do cross-border payment. And the liquidity providers, they give a list of all of the currency conversions they support and all of this. And so as your wallet app, you can choose a subset of them. You can choose all of them. But you also want to start thinking about, okay, how do I make this a good user experience, right? For example, now you have a little bit of optionality because maybe there's two payment providers that both offer the same currency conversions. Let's just say USD to CD, right? And so let's say there's two of them that offer that conversion. Which one are you going to put in your app? Do you put them both? Maybe you put them both, right? In case one goes down, you have another.
Yeah.
Is there one that's a preference? Do you show your customers both so they have options and say, hey, you want to send money to Ghana? Sure, here's two options to do that. This one has this fee. This one has this fee. This one takes this long. This one takes that long.
Yeah.
Now, as a customer, I can say, oh, I don't need it to get there that quick. Maybe I pick the longer one that's less fees. Or no, I need this overnight. I'm going to pick this option, right? And so as the payment app developer, that is your responsibility to kind of think through that whole flow to see like what's the experience you want to give to your customers.
This is interesting. We're having a conversation with Angie Jones of TBD, and they are organizing a hackathon. If you're a developer, this is something that definitely you should be looking out for. It's ending on the 15th of September. We'll let her go through the sites that you can get more details. But before that, we would like to share with you some quick tech fixes. So why not take a listen?
Hello there, my name is Loishola Ademi, and I'm bringing you tech quick fixes and tips on Geek Squad. Social media has been around for a while, since 2006 when Facebook opened to the public. This leaves a long history of posts that can provide a nostalgic look back, but also uncover embarrassing or awkward memories. In this series, we'll help you go back to your previous social media posts and possibly delete any embarrassing ones. Today, we look at how to find your old Facebook post. 1. Open Facebook on your phone and go to your profile page. 2. Scroll down to the What's on Your Mind section. 3. Click on Filter at the top of the right of the What's on Your Mind section. 4. Choose the year and day you want to review, and that's it. It's that simple. Don't forget to delete your embarrassing post today. That's it for today's edition of Tech Quick Fixes and Tips on Geek Squad. Hope you enjoyed it.
Welcome back. This is Geek Squad with your girl Adobea Biritwum. We've been looking at how we can solve some of the payment problems in Africa, and through that, TBD is organizing a hackathon. If you're a developer, this is something that you should be open to. And I'm having a conversation with Angie Jones. Angie, I just want to find out from you. I mean, before we do the wrap up, so for someone who is a newcomer and wants to do the hackathon, what advice will you give that person? Any quick advice?
Yeah. I would say don't be afraid to ask for help. Sometimes people are really shy, but we have a Discord server. If you go to developer.tbd.website, and in the footer of the page, there's a link or an icon for Discord. So you can join our Discord that way. And we have a team of developer advocates that are happy to assist you. So there's already some people in there asking questions about the hackathon or getting their answers. And they're able to even find partners in there. So if there's somebody, you don't have anybody you want to team up with per se, but you are looking for a partner, you can go there to do that as well. So definitely don't be afraid to ask for help. We encourage you to use a partner. And then also we have a lot of resources that we've provided at tbdex.io/hackathon, such as documentation, tutorials, sample applications, videos, and things like that, that all show how to use the product. So you don't have to figure this stuff out from scratch. We have resources and we have people that are all able to help you.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Angie Jones. This has been your girl Adobea Biritwum on Geek Squad. Geek Squad is brought to you by MTN. God willing, next week we will be back. If you're interested, we were live on YouTube and Facebook at Joy 99.7 FM. You can check it out if you want to participate in the hackathon. Up next is news by Michael Ashley. Stay